passion, focus, discipline. This is the Zero Excuses podcast. Each and every week, we talk to high-performing, inspirational athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders. We ask powerful questions to extract their tools, strategies, and life lessons for you to crush your excuses, to break out of your comfort zone, and accomplish your ambitious dreams and goals. Here's your host, Kenyon HERE.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. We have Mr. John Bauer joining us today from Bauer Fitness Consulting, and he's been someone who I've come to know over the past year, and he is a really, really inspirational dude, real down to earth. You know, just one of those guys that you want to be neighbors with, and who really just exudes a positive vibe in everything that he does. And I'm really excited to chat with him on today's show. He's had quite a journey in his fitness and health areas of his life. He's gone from 350 pounds down to roughly 220 and has really transformed his life. He is not only setting a good example for his family, but now he is helping other men live healthy and fit lifestyles. Before we get into the conversation with John, I have a couple quick reminders for you guys. First, if you haven't already done so, would appreciate it if you go over to iTunes and leave us a rating, review, and also subscribe and share this with a friend or family member who may get benefit out of listening to the topics and strategies we talk about here. Simply go to kenyonhethere.com/iTunes, take you right to the Zero Excuses iTunes homepage for you to do all that. Secondly, if you want to take these topics and tools and strategies to the next level, take these even deeper than we go here on the show, have a couple opportunities for you to do that. First is our free Facebook group at kenyonhethere.com/group. Take you right to the page where you just hit the join button. Super simple. Just answer a couple quick questions and you'll be off to the races. And lastly, if you want to connect with me one-on-one, I want to reach as many people here in 2019 as possible to connect one-on-one with my audience members. And whether you simply want to get to know me a little bit better or want to explore one of these topics or pieces of strategy deeper and really work on some things one-on-one with me, can do that for free at kenyonhethere.com/call. Take you right to my calendar. Can schedule a 15-minute phone call with me, and look forward to hearing from as many of you as possible. All right, guys, that's all I got for right now. Let's get into the conversation with John. John Bauer, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a few minutes with us here on the Zero Excuses podcast. I know we connected a couple months ago, and I'm excited to continue that conversation here on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, sir. I appreciate it. Awesome,
man. So, John, you run the Bauer Fitness Consultancy. Correct me if that's a little bit off, but I know fitness is a huge part of your life right now, and I'm always inspired to see your posts on social media with you just getting after it and not making excuses on making fitness and health a priority in your life. But beyond that, why don't you give yourself a quick introduction? Tell us who you are, what you do today, and I'd love to dig into your background of how you got here today.
Okay. Well, I am located in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of the country, and I am the husband of 19 and a half years of a wonderful wife, Julie. I have 3 kids, 2 girls who are both teenagers, Catherine and Elizabeth, and a son who is on the cusp of teenagerdom, but exhibiting every trait of a teenage boy. And he is 12, Christopher. And so that takes up obviously the lion's share of my mind and being. But in the real world, and I kind of like to refer to it as kind of my Clark Kent persona. I'm actually a prosecuting attorney. I've been with a prosecutor's office just outside of St. Louis, Missouri for just over 19 years. I hit 19 years a couple of weeks ago. And so I've been doing that for about 19 years. I spend most of my time at work dealing with the drunks, to be very serious. And it's a lot of impaired driving cases, a lot of fatal, serious injury type cases. I've been focused on those a lot my entire career. Kind of a rewarding aspect of my career, not only in that I can help a lot of the victims and victims' families in these kind of maneuver the legal system, but I also am involved with a treatment court we have. So it's great to see the people who come into this struggling through addiction and able to turn it around and walk out of our court treatment program sober and hopefully onto a better road. So that's kind of been my passion. And then, like you said, fitness is my hobby, my passion. It's something that became a big part of me probably about 6 or 7 years ago when I really got serious and dropped the last part of some weight that I lost when I got married. I was 350 pounds when I got married. And over the course of some time, I ended up dropping about a total of about 120 pounds at my lowest. And so then doing that, of course, you kind of come to this point in your life where there's all these things in front of you that are exciting that you think about doing that you never thought you could do before. So that's kind of what has spurred me on.
So, yeah, you mentioned that you know, when you got married, you were, you know, heavier at that point in time of your life. So
Yes.
what was the main difference back then versus right now? What was your, you know, kind of your upbringing like? What was, what kind of led you to, for lack of a better term, get to that point, and how did you start making changes?
You know, it's hard to say. I think part of it was just, struggling through childhood, never feeling real confident in who I was in a lot of ways, whether it was physically, whether it was socially with friends. You kind of have that mentality beat into you when you're a heavy kid. Other kids aren't nice, and is the easy way to say it. And you just when you get beat down a lot by what people are saying about you around you, you believe it. I mean, it's when you hear the same story over and over, you really struggle with believing it or believing anything different. And so, with that being said, it was really hard to get out of this sense of believing that I could be anything different than a heavy kid or a heavy adult. I was never interested in athletics, so it was hard for me to find anything that interested me enough. But it got to a point once I got to be a parent that you kind of realize that you have different motivations, and it's not just about you, but it's wanting to be around for those around you that you care about, for your kids, for your family. And I think that was the real difference, was just seeing how far I had let myself go, and seeing that there were people that were going to depend on me, and that I wanted to be there, and realizing that I wasn't happy, and that I needed to do it not only for them, but for me as well. I think that was the biggest mind shift, was just that mindset.
So was that after your first child, or did this?
Yeah, it was right after my first child, and the story I kind of always tell is I mean, a lot of people ask if there was just that light bulb moment, and I don't. The only one that I can remember is I remember soon after my first daughter was born. I still have them in my mind, and I haven't looked at it in a long time, but I still have in my mind this picture of me sitting on our floor one day holding her. And I think what just struck me was just how little she was and how big I was. And it kind of really hit me how big I had gotten. And so I think that was really what I thought had to change, because I realized how far I had let myself go. And so, I started right then, relatively quickly then, mostly focused on dieting at first, because like I said, I wasn't real athletic. I wasn't real interested in being athletic. And so the biggest part of it was the nutrition first of all. And I went through a variety of diets, and then it got to a point later on that I found some things fitness wise that I was enjoying. And I think that was what really pushed me over the top, was um, finding fitness things. And for me, especially things where you had the opportunity to do it in a relationship setting, in developing friendships, or doing it with friends. That made it more appealing to me because I'm a very relational person.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing it with others made the fitness aspect of it less of a focus, and it was more of a social thing for a long time, and making it fun. And I think that's the most important thing. Is I talk to people who are interested in doing something for fitness, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's cycling, whether it's running, whatever it is they've got to find something that they enjoy, because that's the only way they're going to keep doing it. Is that it's enjoyable. I mean, you can always set out to do something as a challenge, to take on a race, or take on a challenge or something like that. But ultimately, in the end, it's got to be something you enjoy, because those challenges come and go. But it's eventually going to be you and whatever you're doing, and finding something that in those moments you enjoy doing is really what's important.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Your willpower only takes you so far, and
Exactly.
if you can't, this goes beyond fitness too. It goes
Mm-hmm.
for business and in our relationships. If you don't love it, there's no sense in you doing it. And these things that we tend to do for because they're trendy or anything
Right.
else. You look at them, they burn out really quickly. But if
Yeah.
you absolutely love it, it's gonna be a lasting habit that you form.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be something that and you talk about it too with exercise, but you also can talk about it with nutrition or something. You got to make it a lifestyle choice. It's not, you can't just say I'm going to, I mean, it's got to be something that you can stick with and maintain. And yeah, whether it's a job, whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, whatever it is, it's a commitment, and it's got to be something that in the long haul you want to do.
Absolutely. And people ask me, and I've heard them ask other people too, is like, hey, what's the perfect workout routine or style of workouts, like CrossFit or
Yeah.
yoga or whatever. And yeah, there might be a more effective tool or style of working out there, but the most effective is going to be the one that you stick with.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and it's, and yeah, I mean, there's certainly things that, scientifically or, whatever, are going to prove to be successful, but, scientific stuff is only going to keep you going so long if you don't like it.
Yeah. So let's back up to when you first started your fitness journey. What were kind of the resources that you first started to tap into to kind of get the ball rolling?
Back then, I mean, the big diet thing was Weight Watchers, and they had a real good system that seemed relatively manageable. And I spent, a year and a half following that. It worked really well. It was something that I was able to discipline myself to do. It gave you choices. It didn't say you can't do this, you can't do that, but every choice you had a consequence. If you ate something, high in calories, you had to kind of you had to balance it out in the end. And so that was kind of that, still having some control over the options that you were doing was really the thing I used for a long time. And it worked really well for like about a year and a half. In that year and a half, I dropped probably about 80 pounds. And then we had our second kid. And when you have kids, it's one of those things where you kind of lose the focus and lose the drive. And so I found it around for a while. And I think that it was tough to stay driven. But then, like I said, once I had gotten to a certain point, I did find that doing like group activities, like getting ready for a race as a group, or doing one of those boot camp classes that you can do at a lot of fitness centers, those were the kind of things that kept me going, because there was that social element to it. And so, just finding something like that you challenged yourself more than you challenged against someone else. You just pushed yourself a little bit more. And I think those were the kind of things that kind of kept me going in the initial stages.
So was the social aspect the only part of group setting that kind of drove you, or did you also find there was like accountability and other?
The accountability was key. There's no question there. And I think too, the variety, because the group setting that I did was a really well led one, where it gave us where the leaders gave us a lot of variety of exposure to a lot of different things. We would do this class 3 mornings a week, but it was never the same thing 3 times in a row. We would go running one time. We would do some sort of indoor cardio. We would be in a weight room. We would do the stationary cycles. They would lead us in something like that. I mean, every time we did the class, it was something slightly different. And so there was the accountability, obviously, but then there was the variety of things. We do circuit workouts. We just, a variety of things every time. So it was never boring. And I think I think that the relationship part, but the variety was good. And also, the accountability, of course, is important when you're getting going.
How did you kind of integrate this in with all of your, you mentioned you're a practicing attorney. You also have, at this point, 2 kids. Like, how did you fit all of this into your life? Because one of the biggest excuses that people use is like, hey, I don't have time, or I'm just too busy. They never make time for fitness. How did you do that?
It just was a priority enough to know that I needed to be around for my family, that I had to make the time. And I made the time very early in the morning. That's when I did it. I've always been kind of a morning person. And so it was very easy for me throughout the years just to set it up, because, I also realized very quickly with a family that if it didn't get done first thing, there was, as the day increases, there's a better and better chance it's not going to get done. If it doesn't get done right away, there's just a better and better chance it's not going to happen. And so with that in mind, I mean, I set it out. It was like, you know what? I need to do this early in the morning. And I was up early. My kids were all actually relatively good sleepers. So it wasn't like, we had the struggle of kids getting up early a lot. And I was able to set that time aside. And, fortunately, my wife has been a stay-at-home mom most of the time. And so it was easy for her, if they were up, that she could manage it for a little bit while I was still gone. But I mean, and I continue to do that today. I mean, it is the first thing, 9 times out of 10, it's the first thing that's done in my day by 6:30 in the morning. A lion's share of what fitness, and quote unquote me time, and that was really it became my me time. A lion's share of that is done. And so that charges me up for the rest of the day. It motivates me for the rest of the day. And that was the way it started. It started early and has always been that early morning priority. And it is really something. It's hard, and I don't discredit people who have that time struggle. And it's really hard, I know, when you have younger kids, to not feel selfish about doing it. But the one thing I have really learned, and I've learned this even at the stage of life that I'm in with my kids at the stage of life, is I'm just a better parent and husband if I do it. I'm in a better mood. I'm mentally more able to be there. I can be more engaged in the end when I am home. it puts me in a better frame of mind for the rest of my day if I get this done first thing. And so, for me, it was never a huge challenge. I know that it is for some, but it's one of those things where you've really got to look at it sometimes and say, it just seems like something I'm only doing for myself, but it's not that way. I am doing this for my family. I am doing this so that I can be a better husband and a better father. That I can focus more on my kids and my wife when I get home from work, so that I'm not, running out at 5 or 6 o'clock. And I mean, I still will go for a short, ruck or something like that in the evening. That happens. But it's not the common thing for me. It's just it's get it done and get it done early. I mean, excuse me, not quickly if you can, but definitely early.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat. But what does your evening routine look like? What's that? You got to ask me. You have to have a solid morning routine. It has to be backed
Yeah.
by a solid evening routine. What does your evening look like?
It's a very different thing now. I mean, I have two. I have, I basically say I have three teenagers. I have middle school and high schoolers, and the time that we have in the evening really can be our own too, as mom and dad, as husband and wife, because we've got kids doing homework. And so it's not like, I mean, we try to spend as much time together at dinner. And we have dinner relatively early, when I get home from work. And our kids are pretty much off to their homework and stuff in the evenings. So I mean, unless we've got activities that we're shuffling our kids to, which we will a couple of nights a week, it's a relatively quiet evening. It's hard to have a routine. I mean, you can't really have a routine when you got teenagers in the house. You kind of have to go with the flow. I mean, there are nights my wife and I will sit on the couch, and we'll sit on the couch and just talk or whatever for quite a while. If there's nothing going on. But I mean, there's other nights that we barely see each other because we're shuffling, three kids, five different places, it seems like sometimes. So that's, it's a variance every night in our house. It really is.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking some notes. My daughter is only 4, so I can only imagine as she
Yes.
gets more and more activities, the less and less routine my evening is going to
Yeah.
look like. And, some of these questions I ask on the show are very personal in nature just because I'm genuinely curious about them. But, I, I'm I'm one of those guys that I'll tout the importance of getting 8 hours of sleep a night, but
Yeah.
I'm still getting only 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night. It seems like, but how are you managing your sleep routine? Because if I can't get the hours in, I have to get the quality in. So
Yeah. I mean, it's, that's probably the weakest link in my life. I function very well on very little sleep. Most nights I'm pulling about 6 to 6.5.
yeah,
So I mean, that's where I'm at. And I mean, it's just, it again, I usually do though. I mean, I go to the gym early in the morning, but I usually will say one morning a week I'm not going to, and I'll sleep in a couple extra hours. So I mean, I try to do that, and then on the weekends, of course, I will sleep in later. But probably, I mean, 3 to 4 mornings a week I'm at the gym at 4 a.m. But then usually one morning a week, I will step back and just say, I'm skipping this morning. I do have the luxury of being able to go sometimes at my lunch hour from my work. So
hmm
I can adjust that way. And then on the weekends where I go is not open as early. I will, uh, perhaps get back into some early weekend mornings in the spring and summer, when I go out for a bike ride. I will try to do that early in the day and get that done. As soon as obviously it's light enough to be safe to get out and do it. That I usually like to try and get that knocked out early too. So it varies, but yeah, I mean, I can function on a minimal amount of sleep.
yeah. Yeah, my wife always asks me like, how do you do it? And I
Yeah,
just tell her you got to get into a rhythm, and
yeah,
it actually is a decision that you make. I mean, you
it is.
decide like this is what I have to do to get everything that I need to get done, and
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just saying, okay, I'm gonna barrel through. I have found that the concept of an afternoon nap is a wonderful thing on the weekends, and it's certainly a stage where we can do that again now. Our kids, again, just being more self-sufficient and in their teenage years, it's I can grab a half hour nap on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and it's absolutely fantastic. But I'm not too proud to admit that I do it at all.
yeah, I'm looking forward to those days at least.
Yeah.
4-year-old, she's go 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 go, and
Yeah.
the one beautiful thing that I have to say about getting into a community fitness routine is I've been able to start bringing my daughter to our CrossFit box, and they're really becoming family oriented, and even some of these places are having daycare and stuff. How have you been able to bring your family along with you on your fitness journey?
That's an interesting thing because one of the things I learned early on, and having started it more when my kids were older, is as much as I wanted them to like what I liked, that isn't always going to happen.
Right.
And so it's really important, just like I said for adults, it's really important you find something that you like to make it enjoyable. And so one of the things that I have tried to do is just to be really patient and watch and see, where my kids' passions lie.
Hmm.
Um, 2 out of 3 of my kids are relatively into, athletics. My oldest is on the swim team at school. That's her main sport. And she really, it really was inspiring for me to see how she decided that she wanted to improve and initiated things throughout the year in the off season that she would improve. And so that's been really exciting for me to see. My son is on a couple of athletic teams. He plays baseball and he plays basketball, and it's been exciting to see him get to the point where he's beginning to really kind of develop the passion and enjoy it. I want to encourage him as much as possible. I don't want to, I don't think he has the mindset that he's going to, ever have a career in this. So he's finding it is enjoyable. He's a social kid as well. So he enjoys it for the social aspect of both of those things. And, that's great. And in the midst of that, I've seen him get pushed by his coaches a little bit and challenged and improve. And so that's, it's finding those things. And my middle is not a fitness freak. She doesn't really enjoy it. And so, as much as I've encouraged the other two, I think the challenge for me has been to watch where her passions are and encourage them as much as possible as well. And if it's not the same thing as me, if it's not fitness, just to encourage her as when I can, to stay active, but not drag her into that, because that's something that's not going to make it enjoyable. And just hopefully somewhere along the way she will be inspired to do something in that realm. Until then, she's very active socially with her friends. She loves the fine arts. She's very active in them. And, I think, we continue to tell her the benefits of a healthy life. And, as long as she hears us out with that, that's the most we can do.
Yeah, we can. I definitely find myself or catching myself falling into the trap of like trying to push my daughter into things that I like, and and it could be challenging to balance. Like, hey, this is something that's good for you, yet
Right.
yet not pushing them too hard to make it. I guess make it a requirement and take all the enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and again, it's the same thing as I went through, knowing that, it wasn't enjoyable for me when I was a kid. And so I don't want to make it that way. I don't want to make it that way for my kids. I want them to find something they enjoy.
Absolutely. And you know what? As much as I love bringing my daughter to the CrossFit box, I don't think I would bring her if she didn't get enjoyment out of it. And she
Exactly.
definitely loves hanging around other kids and whatnot. And you have to make it a friendly environment. And if you put too much pressure on them, that's what's going to ruin enjoyment
Exactly.
for all kids, if you ask me.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
All right, John. Well, I want to shift gears here a little bit and find out exactly how you are helping people these days with your fitness consultancy. What exactly do you do with that, and how are you helping people achieve their fitness goals?
Well, as my journey kept going, and I found the enjoyment and the goodness in it for myself, it's kind of was kind of a natural thing for me, as I connected with others, in especially around here, but also in the online communities that I'm involved in. Um, I found that it was a constant thing with guys trying to find the time and trying to find the motivation. And one of the guys that I was working with encouraged me to go out and get certified through the National Association of Sports Medicine, NASM for short.
Mhm.
And it was a really weird thing for me to think that me, as I kind of like to refer myself as the middle-aged lawyer from Missouri, really could do anything like that. But one of the great things was I had been working with a guy in Virginia online as a coach, and he had been creating routines through this app that exists now. And then I would get them, I would record the results, and would continue to work. And I'd seen how well it worked. And so I knew that it created the accountability, that it created the knowledge and things like that. And so I went out and spent a couple of months studying and got certified as a personal trainer, and then turned around and started doing it for others. And so that is what I do. I have kind of my own little side business, and through that I have been coaching mostly guys, actually all guys, but I mean that's just kind of been my niche. More so guys who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even one who's in his 60s, really focusing on just maintaining health as a dad and a husband. Accomplishing health goals, improving your health, but not so much. I'm not the perennial ripped fitness trainer that so many people think of when they go to the local gym. But I'm certainly somebody that has walked the walk of you know getting healthy and knowing what it takes, not only physically but mentally, to go down that road. And I think that's the thing that has really helped me relate well to my clients, is knowing that it's a struggle and it's frustrating and it sometimes doesn't happen as quick as we wish it would happen. But it's something that a lot of guys are willing to commit the time and the energy to. And so through this app that I use, I set up programs for guys, and I keep in touch with them. I observe their progress. They shoot me videos when they're in the gym of different things. I can critique their form, and things like that. And so I've had the opportunity over the past year now. It's been just shy of a year that I really started. Really encouraging guys and seeing guys improve their fitness, and seeing guys gain the confidence, not only physically but as fathers and husbands, that the fitness journey brings for guys. It's great to see, and it's thrilling to be a part of. It really is. I mean, I love seeing that somebody's life is improving because of some knowledge that I have that I'm able to share with them.
Yeah, that is really awesome. And in this day and age where it seems like obesity is the problem is only getting worse, we
Yeah.
can't have enough people like yourself and others out there that are teaching people how to live healthy and fit. And I think that should be everyone's number one priority, because if you can't show up your most energetic way, healthy and of the best frame of mind, you can have the best relationships if you can't enjoy them by living
Right.
healthy.
Exactly.
I don't see any other way. People
No.
put their priorities on other things. I think it should be health.
Exactly. And it is a high priority, and I think it's something that, it translates well into the rest of your life when you feel good about yourself. And I've been on both sides. I've been unhealthy and not felt good. I've been healthy and felt good. And I mean, it's amazing the effect that feeling healthy and confident can bring to just really any aspect of who you are, whether it's working, whether it's being a leader in your family, a leader in your community, whatever it is. It's clearly something basic.
Awesome, man. Well, we're actually starting to run out of time. I want to make sure people know exactly how to get in touch with you. If what you've been talking about here, piquing their interest, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way that they can get in touch with me is I have a presence on Facebook and on Instagram. On Facebook, they can do a search for my business page. It's Bauer Power, and that's BAUER Power, POWER, Fitness Consulting. They can find me there. They can also find me on Instagram. And on Instagram, my screen name on there is J_Bauer Power. All one word, all lowercase letters. And they can reach out to me on either of those places. Shoot me a message. And I would love, I would love to have the opportunity if people are looking for some encouragement or some wisdom or motivation. I'd love to help them out, but also it's just fun to follow people who are on that road already and keep them going.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for your time. Do you have any last minute golden nuggets that you want to drop on us? To get a chance to talk about?
I mean, I think the thing, like I said earlier, is find something that you enjoy. Find something that sparks, and I hate to say it now because now it's kind of been co-opted, but it's the whole sparking joy thing. It's been co-opted by the cleaning lady. But it's true. Find something that just, gives you joy and gives you passion and puts a smile on your face, and just makes you feel encouraged to be better for those around you.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for that, and excited to release this content, and maybe we'll have to do a round 2 down the road again.
Sounds good. That'd be awesome, man. Good to talk to you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Zero Excuses podcast. Join the conversation at kenyonhere.com in our Facebook group. And don't forget to rate and subscribe to our show. We'll talk to you next week. And always remember, results, not excuses.